Hi,
Hi Louis. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How you doing,
I'm
Laida?
very well, thank you.
Yes. So, who are we with today?
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Leila Noor. I am the CEO of Seamless Uganda Limited. Seamless Uganda Limited is a marketing agency with an arm in events industry, PR, and communications.
Okay,
And we've been in existence for about 13 years actually, right now.
great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How vital is marketing and branding in any business?
Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you. So, marketing really, and I'll say marketing, sales, branding, those are things that are life of a business because if no one knows about you, then really how will your business grow? So, it's something that is, I'll call it the lifeline of a business. So, it's very vital for any business. And it should be given a lot of emphasis. Most people don't think it's necessary, but it's something that is, you can't live without it as a business. You have to do it. And I think lately, globally and also locally, people are starting to appreciate marketing more than those days, I think so.
Do you think businesses here in Uganda have embraced marketing? Do you see them investing more money in marketing?
Yeah, most definitely. If you look at how social media is moving right now, for instance, many businesses, especially SMEs, have invested a lot in marketing. Most brands now have visibility. If you're looking for something, you'll find it online. But also for the bigger businesses, the multinational companies, of course, for them, they know it's the lifeline. So yes, most companies right now are going the high level in marketing.
Okay. What business advice sounds good on paper or in theory, but then it fails when somebody tries to put that into practice?
I think that's a little bit hard to determine, but if you were to look at a business that, for instance, when you present it, it looks very attractive, but the question is when you put it out there, how are people responding to it? I think to me that's what I consider success for a business. If people are not responding to it, and of course that comes in the level of how much marketing are you doing, but also how many sales are coming in. Yeah, so if the marketing is there, but the sales are not coming, then there's a question about the service or the product. So ideally, a good business should be able to be known, which is marketing, and then the numbers, which is the sales. So I think that's how to determine if a business is working or not.
Okay. What mistake do first-time founders of businesses tend to do, like every time?
I think not being patient, business requires a lot of patience. And if you're coming into the, your industry, whatever, category you've taken up for your business and you're putting it on a lot of pressure. In other words, you set targets, good to set targets, but if you also don't understand that it takes time, and it's natural to have a target and to have goals as a business owner, but some things take time to grow. So most people do that. You start this business, it doesn't pick up in 1 or 2 years, then you close it, it's like a repeat effect, and you keep just wasting time and money as opposed to being patient and watching your business grow and doing what you have, correcting your mistakes, and doing what you have to push your brand. At least that's something we've done here at Seamless. We've taken time to get where we are.
Okay. How many years would that be if you were to ask?
We this year makes 13 years actually. So it's 13 years this year. We should be 13 years in August. And yeah, we've taken time to learn, relearn, and keep polishing up where you need to polish up in order to get the brand where it is.
Okay. How do you deal with those times when there are no clients walking in? Have you even experienced that time where you have dry seasons and there are no clients moving in with business? How do you handle that?
I think, to be honest, there's no business that doesn't go through that. If you know the Coca-Cola story, Coca-Cola initially was a brand that was consumed only in the summer when it was hot. So what did the company do? They had to create, a campaign that made people want to consume it even in the winter. And that's where the Santa Claus comes in, if you see the two are attached together. So I think there's no business in the world that doesn't go through those challenges. But the question is, how do you maneuver? How do you survive? What do you create? And on our end, we started off doing, of course, events management. But then with time, we brought things like below the line marketing, which is the one-to-one customer engagement to push a combination of sales and marketing together. And then, PR also is an angle, it's another arm of communications that we brought on board. So it's really analyzing your business and creating other things that you think are closely attached to your business, and then seeing how to satisfy your customers in different angles. So for instance, if a client came to Seamless and they want an event, we can do it. But there's sometimes when we're able to do a 360 where we do the events management, the sales and marketing, the media and the PR. So it's having a balance and creating and not being comfortable. Once you get comfortable, then it means you're going to get outdated. So you have to keep creating and moving with the trends to survive.
Impressive. What did running a business, this type of business, what has it taught you over time?
It's taught me, and I'm still learning, you never stop learning. It has taught me, first of all, to learn to work with people. My business is very creative, it requires a lot of creativity, and it's very people-oriented. You can't do without people. So you have to be able to manage people very well. You have to have patience, but also to learn to delegate. Most business owners have a challenge where you want to be in everything yourself. And I think initially I was that kind of person where I wanted to, I still, look through with my team. We have meetings where we engage one-on-one, but I've learned to trust and correct and, mentor, and you just climb the ladder with people. And I've had the privilege of having some people actually go through me and start their own businesses. So for me, that is a success. Or if they haven't started their own businesses, they've been able to, work in very big organizations. But the fact that they came through Seamless is my pride. Yes. So you have to keep planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
What matters more in business? Is it timing or talent?
I think, honestly, it's both. It's both. Because the talent, of course, if you don't have the right talent, if you don't have the right teams, then how are you going to be, to be able to execute? But then also, timing is very key. If you're marketing a product, for example, what is the timing for that product? There are products that we know will sell in certain seasons very well, and maybe in certain seasons they won't sell. A very good example, the telecos really benefited during the COVID season. Now, for them having internet, those days, I think when COVID, we had some internet service providers. Now the number has grown up, it's increased, but they utilized that advantage. Yeah, so the timing was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
What business skill do you think pays forever once you've mastered it?
I don't think there is one business skill per se. I think you just keep moving with the trends. For example, back then in 2021, we didn't know about AI. Okay, maybe it was coming quietly, but right now even I want to do a course in it. And I had started a course in AI, I think that was last year, 2025. No, actually I started in 2024, but I wasn't able to complete, but I want to resume. So you can't say that it's only this and I've mastered it and that's it. You just have to keep moving with the trends. People now are using a lot of systems, accounting systems, there's the Zoho, there's so many products. So you just need to know how to keep moving your business according to the time and the trend. Yeah.
What thought pattern has changed your life over time?
It's a good question. I think really having a positive mindset is something very key.
Okay.
Like problems will come, but you have to be able to have a balance. Now, for us business owners, some of us are parents, you have a family, and there are issues like back at home or children are sick or whatever reason it is. But at the end of the day, just being able to structure. And that now when I'm at work, anything that to do at home, as long as I've found a plan to manage it, I need to focus and also just have a positive attitude. And just know that no hurdle is permanent. It's just it's a phase and things pass. So for me, that's what I go with all the time. I keep saying to myself when I get a challenge, this too shall pass. And of course, prayer. When you move in that direction, I think it helps you to be able to stand strong in the world of business and general life.
How do you silence self-doubt?
One thing I learned from an early age, and I think I learned that from my mother, really affirming to yourself is something. When my mom got cancer in 20, I think it was 20, I can't remember the year, but some time ago, she passed on unfortunately. But we had to learn, to read positive affirmations, watch positive affirmations. A cousin of mine brought us something called The Secret, and that really helped us. And from then on, I took it on like permanently. So every time I'm having like any kind of doubt, I've learned to speak to myself. If speaking to myself doesn't help, then I'll play something, maybe off YouTube or in my car or whatever, to just keep, because the more you push that in your brain, the more it sticks. So I just keep telling myself, you know what, even when I get a challenging project, this I can manage. I don't know how, but I'll manage. So it's just speaking to yourself and just having a right attitude and a positive attitude.
What do unsuccessful people misunderstand about discipline?
I think unsuccessful people, and I don't want to think that people are unsuccessful. I think it's just a choice in life, really. What they don't understand is that discipline and consistency go together. You cannot say you're disciplined and you're not consistent. It doesn't matter. You have to be able to know that the two are going together, and you program yourself and you structure yourself. Not in a way that is militaristic, but it's a way that helps you to just organize your life, and you know that from this time to this time on a daily, I have to do this. So once you have that discipline, for example, as Muslims, you know that at lunchtime I have to go and pray. Whether this or that, I have to go and pray. So it's the discipline and being consistent that unsuccessful people don't understand. They think that you can do it today, then maybe when you make a little bit of money, then you can go back to your ways. But it doesn't work like that. You have to continue in that space. When it's time for holiday, it's time for holiday. When it's time to work, work, but in a structured, organized way, consistently with discipline.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you able to think differently under pressure?
Okay, so for me, I think that when you're under pressure, the first thing you do is you learn to tell your mind to stay calm, and you find solutions in that calmness. Because the minute you start to panic, then it means everything is going to crumble. And I was very privileged to learn that in the UK. I was, a student studying, and we would get those part-time jobs where you go, maybe waitress in a hotel, and while you're in the kitchen, people are screaming, people are doing what, but you learn to work under pressure. You really, really learn how to work under pressure. So that really contributed to me as a person, so I can handle heat from there, and still know how to balance and stay calm. And it's really helped me a lot in my business, especially with work like events, with marketing, sales. You have targets, clients are demanding, but you learn to stay calm. And in that calmness, you're able to achieve and give them their results or even exceed their expectations.
What skills made you valuable before being confident?
I think I've always been a very organized person. I don't know if that's a skill, but I think it's something that, from my younger age, from when I was, if you spoke to any of my, family members, they will tell you I was always that child who organized my uniform before bed, socks are there, books in the bag, So I think actually being organized is a skill. It's something some people don't have. So it's something that led me to being, very prepared. And of course, being prepared means you will end up being confident.
Okay. If you're to start from zero and run back the time to your 20s, early 20s, what skills or what would you do differently if there is anything?
I think, what would I do differently? I think if I was to run back to my 20s, I think I used to socialize, but I would want to socialize a bit more. Now I'm more outgoing than when I was 20. I think then I was a little, you don't just open up to people. Now I'm more of that person. So yeah, so that's something I would have done. I think I would have been a little bit more patient if I was speaking to my 20-year-old. I didn't have patience. Now it's something I've acquired with time. And like I said, working with people and learning different personalities, expectations, it helps you to remain grounded and patient. But the grounded part, I was always grounded. I was just a little not too patient. So yeah, those are some of the things I would change.
Okay.
Yeah.
What should people master before chasing promotions or titles at work?
So the thing is, titles are important, you get, but I think the question, and I always say, how do you serve the people? It doesn't make sense you having a fancy title, but in actual sense, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So I think the thing is, it's how can I help this person be better? So once you do that, then you see that your title actually makes sense. Because having a title and you're not serving, I think it's the most irrelevant thing any person can have. So I think the thing is should be, how am I making a difference in someone's life? How am I adding value? And for me, working with young people and seeing them, move from A to B to C, and they keep climbing the ladder, then I feel like I'm actually making, some value to people's lives. So I think that is what's important. Having a promotion, but are you ready to make a difference in that organization, in someone's life? Those are some of the things that, as human beings, as business owners, as, people starting up businesses, there are things that you should look at. You're starting a business, but apart from you making the money, how are you adding value to the community? You as the CEO, how is your business valuable? So that is something that I think, we need to always dig into. And I think many people are not looking at it, but it's something that is very important.
What career move looked risky at first, but then it has paid off in the long run?
Of course, being able to know what you love, like do what you love. Let's not waste time doing things that are not, you're there in some job, but you hate it, that you're there for the money. It's risky, it's fearful, but I think it's something that once you do what you love, and I think you've seen, in other parts of the world, children don't waste a lot of time studying things that are not, that they don't like. What are you good at and what do you love? You're good at it, but do you love it? Okay? And then you focus on that, and with time, there's nothing as satisfying as making money doing what you love. You don't get tired because it's what you love.
What you love.
Okay? For instance, for me, my part in the marketing events industry requires a lot of creativity, and naturally, I'm a very creative person, but I also love what I do. So there's no day like I wake up excited to come to my business. So that's something that I did. I left a job because I just wanted to do what I loved. So that was risky because, like, who leaves a paying job to go into the unknown to start something where you're just starting from scratch? So that is a risk I took, but at the end of the day, it has paid off. To just focus, be patient, and trust that, God has your back.
So, as a CEO, what do you think is most important, being liked or being respected?
I think it's a combination of both, because imagine being a CEO that's liked but you're not respected, or a CEO that's respected but not liked. Like, you need to be able to balance, to have a balance where, like, for example, here at Seamless, I will connect with my team. We're it's a family oriented kind of environment. But at the end of the day, when things have to be done, things get done, and everyone is accountable to what they have to do. So it's really striking a balance between the two worlds and seeing how do I remain, lovable but also respectable. And you can't do that without striking that balance.
So it's all about the balance.
You have to balance, yes.
Okay. So what specific skill do you wish you had learned 10 years ago?
I think if I had learned, now I'm learning, how to something in financing, in accounting. I think I would be further than I was because money management is something very important. But I've learned that, at a later stage in my life. But I think if I had gotten those skills earlier, I think I would be somewhere further than I am. Yeah.
What career advice no longer applies in today's world?
Like I said earlier, in today's world, people, the world is changing. I'm not saying that the traditional jobs are not viable anymore, but I feel like people should really get to know themselves. Do that career based on how passionate you are about it. It doesn't make sense to just do a job because you want the payment. At some point, money becomes very extrinsic. It means you're just doing it to get paid. But when you're intrinsic, it means you want to earn because you love what you do. So I think once people master that at a young age, and of course they add the creativity touch, I think younger people will actually go much further. And being creative, do your research, find out what works, what doesn't work, to just get out there but focus on what you love. Like if it's art, it might not be art as in drawing, but it could be art maybe in design or, I don't know, clothing or, things like that. My son is 14 years old right now, my firstborn, and he was always very artistic, like a drawer. And of course, when I realized that at the age of 3, I could see the pictures he was drawing at 3 were not for a normal 3-year-old. I really pushed as a parent to show him that art is something you can truly embrace. And we even had an exhibition where he sold his paintings. He was very good at it. But with time, I realized that his art, because he was not now interested in drawing, but then his artistic side was coming out in the clothing. The way he dresses, the way he puts his things together, the way when, I would start shopping and he's like, no, pick for me this, things like that. So now he's actually released through his entrepreneurship class, he was able to come up with a brand, a label. And now, we have a brand and I'm pushing him and encouraging him to push it forward. So that's another form of art. So it's just really discovering yourself and knowing that, okay, in this sector, I like this, but it might not be that particular artistic side, but there are other things around art. So that's a good example. But I think once you dig deeper and you deep dive into yourself and then you're able to prosper.
Have you struggled in life?
Of course. Who hasn't, apart from... I'm not going to name names, but I feel like we've all struggled in some way or another. If it's not financially, it could be emotional, it could be, there are many other ways, mental. So yes, I've struggled in life. I've struggled, of course, financially. That's normal for most, especially in the, business world. When you're trying to start up, it's not easy. You have to finance jobs and things like that. So yes, that's a big one. But also emotional. I've lost loved ones, people who are very, very close to me. And that really hit me hard. It really, really hit me. I lost my mom and my brother. When you lose your loved ones, this year, this one, the next year, like for 3 consecutive years. And I think it really tested me. It tested my level of resilience. It tested my level of hope, And I must say that those were some of the most challenging parts of my life where I even almost gave up on Seamless. But then I sat back and I remembered what they would say to me. Like when you start something, that was my mom saying, when you start something, you have to go all the way. When you commit to something, it's all the way. Once you say yes, it's a yes.
Okay.
So I had to sit back and use my pain to actually push myself. Because I remembered what my late mother used to say, you start something, give it 120%, and you're in it all the way. So that's when I sat back and I said, I've started Seamless, so I can't give up. And then with my brother, it was more or less the same thing. So yes, I've gone through very tough emotional pain. But I thank God that I was able to stand strong, remain resilient, and you keep moving. You just learn how to, like I said, to organize your life, have a positive attitude, and know that it's not the end. So somehow with that, of course, also having my own children, I had to keep going. Just had to keep going. Yeah, and that helped.
To add on to that question, what do
Yeah.
you think struggle has taught you that comfort may not have, taught you?
Struggle, people fear struggle. Sometimes we fear our children to struggle, but struggle in a way is a good thing because it teaches you lessons that will even help you in your comfort. I'll give an example. If you've ever struggled financially, where you've had no money, when you get it, unless you're crazy, but when you get it, you'll remember to stash some money away. Because of the struggle you went through, you won't go and blow up all the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yes, so struggle does contribute to how you get to the comfort level of your life.
Okay. What trade-off do people ignore when chasing success?
I don't think there's a standard trade-off that this is it, but there are things, of course, when you're chasing success that may come into play. For example, your network of people in your circle may change. Time, the way you manage your time may change. For instance, for me, my sleeping hours changed. I sleep much earlier and I wake up much earlier in order to be able to function, without breaking down. So there has to be a trade-off, and of course, you choose and you know what you want to. For me, I know personally, without managing my time well, I can't be able to serve my clients. So I've had to work backwards my clock in terms of now, for instance, I had to trade movies. I barely have time for movies. Series, I don't have time for those anymore, sadly, because I was one of those addicts, series addicts. I think the last one I watched very, very, before getting it so much into my business was 24. Prison Break, those ones. But I had to trade some of those things. Now I still do them, but of course, not like before.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe during the festive break when we've closed away, closed the business for break, then I have time to actually say, let me watch, a series. So there's always something that you have to trade off, but it's not the same for everybody. It changes according to how you're structured, your business is structured or your lifestyle. Yeah.
What lesson did life teach you the hard way?
That's a very, very broad question. There's so many lessons that I think life has taught me the hard way. Losing, again, I'll go back to losing my family. That one, life taught me the hard way. You can't take things for granted, and you can't take people for granted. You can't assume that, this person is always going to be there, you take him for granted. So it's something that I learned. So right now I try to make sure I utilize my relationships. I say the thank yous, the I love yous, the well done at the right time, because you don't know how long you have on this earth or how long the people you deal with have on this earth. So I would rather, not take things for granted. Before I would always think my mom would always be there. I learned the hard way that, life is not a guarantee. Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
understandable. What problem makes a business almost very hard to scale?
I guess it comes down to management. If you have a managerial issue, it means you can't scale. Because scaling means you're going to need a bigger team. And if you cannot manage your team better, then it means you're failing to work with people, therefore you cannot scale. So people management is very, very important. And of course, striking a balance with people management is key. You have to be that leader who, first of all, shows up. You show up, you're approachable, but at the end of the day, you know how to be assertive, and also you know how to get people to get things done. So for us here, it's our culture. It's a blend of both worlds. You have the fun side, but also when it comes to deadlines and delivering, you must be able to do that. So yes, management is very key.
How best do you think somebody should be able to market their businesses, what advice would you give to somebody starting up? How best do you think they can market their business?
Okay, I think first of all, it's understanding your target audience. Okay, once you understand your target audience, then you come up with a strategy. In marketing, we have something that is called TOA, which is top of mind awareness. You come up with a strategy that you know my target audience, this is what applies to them. So you create activities to market your product so that your product stays top of mind for your target audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you been able to do that as Seamless Uganda?
At Seamless, I think we've marketed ourselves mainly with the quality of work that we do. When we decide to serve a client, if a client comes to us, first of all, we give them the time, we think with the client, we put ourselves in the client's shoes, be able to understand their product well, and serve them to the best of our ability. And of course, that's where our slogan, exceeding your expectations, comes in. And through those clients we've served well, we've been able to get more clients. And our business has been so referral based because most of the time we serve a client, serve them well, then they'll refer us to the next, and it's been a trickling effect. But of course, now we're not just relying on referrals, we have other things we do to market ourselves as a brand. But I think that is the one thing that has made seamless because we actually stand by our brand name, Seamless. When we do something, we do it seamlessly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've stopped spending money on as you got successful?
Okay, so I think the more successful you become, the more reasonable you become, meaning that everything is structured. You have ways of managing your money. You don't just splatter. If it was the 20-year-old me, I think if I had got like probably 20 million, I would go and just splatter it over shopping. But now I have to budget, plan, prioritize. There are things you want, but you prioritize so that you have a structured way of spending your money. Other than that, we love everything, but we just plan like, when is this important? I need this, but must I have it now? So I always use the word need and want. And I prefer to go with the needs first. For instance, I need fuel to move. I need food. I might want to buy a Gucci bag, but it can wait probably towards the end of the year. So it's just having that discipline, financial discipline, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What financial habit quietly destroys people's future?
Not having a balance. Again, not striking between need and want. Want are the luxuries. Needs are what you need. So, of course, knowing that this is key, this is what I need, I can do this. And of course, not saving. Not saving is also another problem. So, just knowing what is needed when, and then also knowing that every financial revenue that comes in, you must be able to have set aside at least a small chunk for savings.
Okay. What habit gave you the highest return on effort?
Consistency and discipline, the two. I'll use the example of when we were managing Wave. Wave was a very high intense project in terms of numbers, marketing, sales, all of that was really very high intense. But the fact that I knew that I have to manage my teams a certain way. And one of the things I did consecutively, we had teams all over the country, but every morning, consistently at 6 a.m., because these were salespeople, a message or a communication from me would come, okay? After me, then of course the supervisors would, and that was at the start. With time, it went on having to be the supervisors doing it, with me chipping in once in a while. But that level of consistency of every single day, we have to check on the teams to give them what we call a morning clinic before they head to the field. It helped us to achieve results because we'll do it morning, afternoon, and evening. So there we would get, let's say, Louis, a salesperson, and we ask, yes, today you're going in the field, what is your target? In the afternoon, how many customers have you onboarded? In the evening, what is your end of day report? So doing that consistently helped us to be able to achieve the numbers that we got for that particular client.
Okay.
Yeah.
What mental shift separates amateurs from professionals?
I think professionals always have what we call emotional intelligence. They're able to know how to handle different situations. And that's the mental shift because the way an amateur runs a business is very different from the way a professional handles a business. Or the way a manager manages a team is very different from someone who has no experience would manage a team. So it's the level of having the right emotional intelligence and knowing that in this particular situation, I'm going to handle this like this in a calm way. Yeah.
What advice would you ignore today that you once followed?
Maybe not once followed, but probably maybe overheard, was to stick into being safe. What I mean, like, it's always standard culture that, you go to university, you either become a doctor, engineer, or, those professions, which are very good. And of course, young people are encouraged to take them on. But it's also to discover you. It's important to discover you and know what you're good at. So that advice of, you will not make it if take another route to do what you think is what you enjoy. I personally don't believe that. I think it's very important to discover yourself, discover what you're good at, what are your strengths, do a SWOT analysis on yourself, and just know what you're really strong at and see how to maximize on your strengths and your opportunities, and then it will open doors for you.
What do you evaluate before making big decisions?
I always do what we call the 80-20 rule. I will see what are the pros, how many more pros do I have compared to the cons. And of course, if the pros are higher, then I'll always go with that decision. So I think it's making an analysis and seeing how does it benefit me, how does it, things like that, and then you can move.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Special shout out to Visual Pilots. Thank you so much for coming to Seamless, for blessing us with this photo shoot and the interview. We don't take you guys for granted, and a very big thank you from my team and I. Thank you once again.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you
such
so
a
much,
great
Louis.
time,
It's been a very wonderful time.